Say it again.
Who do you expect to be out next week?
Nobody. Yeah, expect full attendance.
Coach, what do you think was like the biggest point of improvement that you've seen from first week they were here last week to now?
Well, our biggest point of emphasis as a coaching staff was really our finish, our pursuit on defense. We want to stop the ball, the momentum of the ball running through the defense in practice, even without pads on. And so it's a learning experience of what that looks like and what we're going to be about. And then offensively, we talk about the finishing aspect of getting connected down the field and blocking for our buddies. So finishing is a huge deal about what we're doing. We're very much rooted in the fundamentals and the techniques of what we're asking our guys to do. And so we saw growth last week in that way, and that's the expectation for us going forward.
At that point, though, like talk about some of the small things. I know we just do. Until I get to know you, I want to know these type of
Sure.
I saw you guys make them go back in the huddle several times. What exactly are you looking for in the huddle and as they come out of it?
Yeah, there's a certain way that the play needs to get communicated in the huddle. There's a certain way that the break should sound to us around us that means that we're ready for business and we're ready to get going. And if it doesn't sound that way, then we're just not going to allow the practice to go south. Fatigue is something that we're going to combat. The longer practice goes, the more fatigue guys get, and the mental toughness has to come through of still doing the little things correctly. So that's a part of it.
Ben, on that topic, would you say your play calls are on the shorter end or longer end?
Depends. Depends on what we're trying to get done. I would have said 3 years ago, shorter end, and then things have gotten a little bit more complex. And now that we're back to building it from square one again, it's a blend of probably when I first started play calling to where I ended last year. And we're trying to find that right mix. We're also trying to challenge these guys and see how much we can handle too. Every position group on offense, we're trying to see how much they can download and what they can apply. And we'll revisit that as a staff at the end of OTAs and decide what the best course of action for us going forward into the season is going to look like. And training camp might be a little bit different because of that.
We saw Magaji at left tackle last week when we were here, and today it was Ozzie. Is it 1 day on, 1 day off for each guy, or is it based on how they're?
We're moving guys around. Yeah, we want to give everyone an opportunity. So, Darnell, we feel pretty comfortable keeping him at the right side right now. So the left side until we get Braxton back in the mix, it's going to be a little bit of musical chairs.
Consider right tackle settled then, that he's not going to move?
To be determined. Anything's on the table, and we're going to let the plan play out, which is keep them there for the time being and let these guys battle it out on the left side. And we can decide to change course whenever we need to.
Ben, what are you learning about what Caleb can handle at this point as you're kind of resetting for him?
Yeah, no, it's been consistent throughout. He's been very attentive. He's been very detailed in terms of the meetings. He's taking great notes. He's asking excellent questions. The more we're out on the grass together, we're figuring out what we can put in the morning and what we can execute later on in the afternoon. And so that's been the fun part of it so far, because there's for everybody, there's a saturation level that we got to find what that point is so that as coaches, we don't ask too much out of any player over the course of the season. We got to be able to download a game plan and execute it. And so it's been a healthy process right now. I think JT Barrett's doing a phenomenal job. Declan's a big part of that as well, just figuring out how much install we can push on these guys. And the good news is we got the weekend that they can get the plan and start ahead for the next week. And you can really see guys separate, not just at the quarterback position, but really all around on offense and defense, who's in their book a little bit extra than the next guy.
How have you seen Keenum helping Caleb throughout the process?
Case has been phenomenal. I haven't been with him in the past, but he came highly recommended from a number of people that I trust. He's got skins on the wall. I mean, he's been to playoff games. He's won playoff games. He's done it at a high level. He's been the number 2 quarterback at a number of different places as well. So his experience level is off the charts. He's seen a little bit of everything that this league has to offer. And I can say from my experience of being in the room with him, he finds a good way to ask questions that I might not, or Declan or JT, we might not have provided the answer to prior. So he does a good job filling those gaps. And then of course, we're constrained so much by the time limits in the springtime that he's able to help the process when we're not in there as coaches.
On that note, we saw him the last 2 weeks with like running the twos, and today with the 2-minute offense, him still there in that position. Is he in running that for that position? Him and Tyson?
Yeah, absolutely, and that's how we explained it to him. That's how we explained it to Tyson. We're going to continue to mix up the reps over the course of the preseason, and then at some point in training camp, we'll make a decision with who has earned that number 2 job, and we'll go with it. But for right now, we got to battle. Just like we've been saying from the start of the springtime, there is no depth chart. We want as much competition to create growth that we possibly can.
I know you were joking with us last week about your body language being something you wanted to work on, and there was a report that Caleb's body language is something that you guys are focusing on in meetings and all of that. Like, what specifically do you want to work on him with in that respect?
Man, there's adversity that's going to hit every team, every season. You don't know when it's going to happen. We might lose a few games. We might have some turnovers, and yet just the wherewithal of we're steering the ship. We're going the right direction. It's not woe is me. We are going to take everyone around us, we're going to elevate them, and we're going to look to forge ahead to what's next. And so it's not dwelling on the past. It's not whether it's last season, last play, last game. We learn from it, we grow, and we move on. And so our body language needs to reflect that as well.
Does
What
that
type
apply?
of examples have you given Caleb about body language of quarterbacks that you worked with, that you've seen, that you want him to kind of reflect? And how do you come about kind of this realization as you were studying up on him coming to this job?
No, we early in the process, we sat down and we watched some tape from a year ago, and we talked it through. It's like, do we really want to? Is this what we want to look like or not? And we come to an agreement. No, it's not. And okay, we learn from it. And we move on to the next thing. So, it's body language is a huge thing. Demeanor. We don't want to be a palms up team where we're questioning every. No. That's, to me, that's a little bit of a sign of weakness, and we don't want to exhibit that from anybody on the team.
How does that apply to DJ Moore? There were some instances last year where his body language was caught on camera and caused some people to ask some questions. Is
Yeah.
it similar with him? Have you talked to him about?
Yeah, we've talked to the entire team about what we want it to look like, what good teams do, what playoff teams do. This is the example we're setting, and this is the direction we're going. So the good news is this: we have a phenomenal coaching staff, a lot of which were former players in this league and did it at the highest level. And what they say carries weight with our guys. They know what it looks like. We have a number of guys that we brought in free agency this year that they know what good football looks like as well. So, it's all about educating, showing them what we're going to be about going into next season.
We learned last week that you're going to do multiple crossover practices.
Yeah.
What's your vision for marrying those together, and how that will enhance your August? And will those be multiple days with each team, or are you just going to do the one day?
The plan is just to be one day with each of those teams, and the way I viewed those in the past has been it's a good opportunity to break up camp a little bit, controlled setting, yet high intensity. I think the competitive nature of just about everybody, once you get in between those white lines against an opponent like that, it goes up another notch. And so it'll be at that point in training camp where we've had, call it 12, 13, 14 practices in, and just a little bit different will be good for us, for everybody, coaches and players alike. It'll be fun to go against a different scheme. And that thought process, the problems that arise that way, but also for our players being able to compete against a different opponent. So the controlled setting of it's really important, and I'm excited both those opportunities.
Coach, what do you know about Coach Allen that maybe you didn't even know when you hired him? And as you install your offense, he's installing this defense. What are you seeing from that defense?
Yeah, no, I've had the pleasure of sitting in on a number of his meetings so far, and it's everything I thought it would be. Really, it's a guy that's done it at a high level. He's coordinated, he's orchestrated a number of high-performing defenses. Whether it's points allowed, whether it's third down defense, whether it's red zone, he's got a plan. He's super smart. We were just sitting in my office yesterday talking about some game management things that have popped up, whether it's here in Chicago, where I was at the past, where he was in the past, and we see the game naturally the same way. And so he's aggressive by nature. I can appreciate that about him, and I think he's got a great message every time these guys walk into the building and go to one of his meetings. And so I'm really excited about working with him. Yeah, thanks. Love these guys.
Good to see everybody back. So get this started. First, let's start off with it is what everybody would love to ask about is this whole storm that happened. It wasn't something that we wanted to happen at this point. We're focused on the present. We're focused on now. We're focused on trying to get this ship moving in the right direction. And I think so far that's what we've been doing. But for this to come out, it's been a distraction. So coming up here and talking about it and addressing it is important today. And so that's what we're here to do. Next is all that went down, all that was said. Yeah, I had a good visit at the other place, Minnesota, with Ken O'Connell, good staff and all of that, obviously. He just won Coach of the Year award and things like that. So obviously good staff and things like that. But something that keeps getting lost, something that keeps getting, I think, not being addressed the way it needs to be, is the fact that, I went on that visit first, came here, and then after I came here, I went back home, talked to my dad, and, all of the things that were supposed to be these big things that everybody's been talking about recently. One never happened in the sense of they were all thoughts. They were all ideas. And I think if you're in the situation, I think if your son or daughter, anybody is in a situation to be in that position, I think you think about all of the options and, and you look at it, the history and the facts and all these different things. Those are thoughts that go throughout your head in those situations. So, all of those were thoughts. And then after I came on my visit here, it was a deliberate answer and deliberate and determined answer that I had is that I wanted to come here. And just like Ben spoke about, obviously, the past years, as everybody knows, it's a fact that quarterback play, there hasn't been a 4,000-yard passer. There's, all these different things that come up. And so, being able to have those thoughts is I think, fair to be able to have, good and bad thoughts. But like I said, I came here on a visit, and like I said, just like Ben said, it's a challenge to be able to come in here and try and turn around. And that was the main goal of all of that is to, through all of, what was, going on, through all of what happened in last year and previous years, I think that was enticing. I think that was something that was glaring to me that I wanted to come here and be the guy and be a part and be a reason on why Chicago Bears turn this thing around. So that last thing that was said and all of that I think was the most important thing is that I wanted to be here. That I love being here. I love my teammates. I love all the people that got me here, family, friends, Ryan, Kevin, Floos and Shane, all those guys that went through all of that process with me to get me here. But it was all those things, like I said, were thoughts. But the main goal and the main objective of being here is to turn around. That's why I was selected number one. And so, that's what we're here to do. That's what they brought me here to do. That's what they brought all these guys here to do. Joe, DJ, all these different guys. And that's why they brought Ben here. And so, like I said, it's a challenge. And we look at those challenges and, we don't laugh. We look at them really, really seriously. And, we go attack them, to the best of our ability to go and change it and turn it around. So, yeah.
Caleb, last year, by December 1st, the offensive coordinator had been fired, the head coach had been fired. Did you sit there and have any thought that I saw this coming? I knew the challenge.
No, I think obviously, you look at it and the challenge. First year guy, new coach, offense coordinator, and then new coach for me, new situation, knew all these different things. So wasn't at a point where I looked at it and was like, I knew this would happen. Nobody, I think, would sit back and especially after you go, 4-2 in the first, 6 weeks. You don't sit back and wonder and ponder on, the bad. You face it when the bad comes, and that's what we did.
David, with some of the concerns you had before the draft about this organization, some of them would seem to be justified when you go through a year like you did your rookie year. How do you get yourself in a headspace now where you trust that you're in good hands going forward?
Yeah, I have the I have the utmost respect, and there's things that I've done throughout my years of training and learning and working hard and things like that. And this past year was a bump. There was good, bad, and indifferent. And so being able to look at that and understand that, I still threw 6 picks in the National Football League. I had 3,500 total or something like that or whatever it was, and, 20 touchdowns. And that's not where I want to be. That's not where I'm going to be. But it's a step in the right direction. Like I said, there was some good, bad, and indifferent. And you got to look at those things. You got to understand that all the good, all the bad, and all the indifferent is going to be good for me, in many years to come. And so, I think that's how I look at it. I still have all the confidence in myself. I think my teammates, believe in me. I think that's shown on game day. And I think how much I love and care for those guys and want to go win, I think it shows up on game day. So.
What about the new leadership under Ben has left an impression on you?
Yeah, no, Ben's, I think y'all have been able to see it when he gets up here. And you get a little taste of how he is. He's always laser focused. He encourages and he pushes you and challenges you to be at your best. As a team, offense, defense, special teams, doesn't matter position. He's sharp. And he's a guy that wants to win. And so, being here, being the head guy, and to be honest, he's consistent with it every day. So, excuse me. So him being here and being the head guy and doing all of those things and being consistent with it, so far it's been awesome, and I think everybody's been enjoying.
You just said that you didn't want this to come out at this time, but some of these things were said on the record. Did you and your camp, did you think it was more useful for the time period when you did have the reservations before you came in and had the meeting and decided this was cool? Was that something, those conversations that were on the record, did you think maybe this is more useful for that time period when you were considering some other options or at least trying to create some different avenues?
Yeah, I think I wouldn't say there was times of it being more useful. I think at that time of all the things that were going down and where we're at now, many weeks in, new coaches, many weeks in, we're on this freight train and it's starting to pick up speed and it's a lot of learning, a lot of things going on. I think the timing of it, it's not ideal. But, we're here. It happened, and we learned from it. I think it's an experience for myself and obviously for everybody else, that we're focused on now, present day, and we're not here to talk about the past and discuss the past anymore.
On that topic, though,
Are you watching film now as opposed to?
Yeah, that was a funny one that came out. It wasn't that I didn't know how to watch film. It was more or less the sense of learning shortcuts in the sense of, or not learning shortcuts, but learning ways to watch film and be more efficient, learning ways to, pick up things better. And so that was a funny one that came out, that in context and how I was trying to, portray it, didn't get portrayed that way. So it wasn't that I didn't know how to watch film. It was trying to figure out the best ways and more efficient ways so I can watch more film, I can gather more information, so that when I do go out there on game day, that it's, I'm that information that I gathered through Monday when we got back, all the way up to, whatever day the game day is. So when I get out there, I can gather it, I see it, I can react, and it's not me sitting there thinking so much about, the rules and these different things. It's more of a reaction game at that point in muscle memory. So
To that end, what has Ben taught you about those shortcuts or just things that maybe he sees that he wants you to start seeing?
Like I said, I think Ben has been extremely detailed. And so when he talks about the plays, when he talks about, the pass, run, screen, play action, he talks about them really in depth and what we love them versus and what we don't love them versus and things like that. And, just have an idea going into practice, going into soon game days and things like that. It's going to be nice for something that we've been repping and getting after. And, I think that's been one of the things that's been really awesome, is the detail, and him really being on top of that. And I mean, he's been in it for 6 years. It's been his offense for 6 years. So he's really on top of it, and we're only trying to catch up. I'm only trying to catch up to him and be on the top of the details as much as possible.
Caleb, when it comes to the timing of the book, I believe it comes
Book?
out with the book.
Yeah.
I believe it comes out the day after the opener against
Yep.
the Vikings. Are you worried that it's going to be a distraction again,
No.
or are you confident that most of this is already out there?
That's why I came up here today to address this, and actually speak on some of the things that were at this moment out of context, and also some of the things that I want to clarify, like what we just spoke about in the watching film and things like that. Obviously, my information that I know now was not the same as last year, whether it's fronts, defenses, blitzes, whether it's offense and things like that. And that's something that over the years and over time, speaking on it like Case, he comes in here and he's been in many different offenses and things like that, many different, teams and all of this. So when he comes in here and he hears something, it may be a different name, but it's the same exact thing. So that sort of thing is kind of, on a steady trend longer that I play.
Did you feel that when the excerpt came out, did you feel like you had to talk to people in the organization, whether it was Ryan or Kevin or George or Ben or teammates? Did you feel like you had to, like the way you're kind of talking to us a little bit right now, did you feel like you had to do that in the building?
No, I think my guys, obviously we spoke about it, just because it's something that came out and it was this huge, out of the blue kind of thing that popped up. And so we spoke about it with like Ryan and Ted and all these different people, just to make sure that we're all on the same page, actually, what wanted to be said and put out and things like that. And that's why we're also here today, addressing it, to make sure everything's cleared up and clarified.
Caleb, does your dad speak for you?
No. I actually shut my dad down quite a bit. He has ideas. He's a smart man, and so I listen, and I always listen. And I'm very fortunate to be in this position in the sense of playing QB, but also very fortunate to have a very strong-minded father. And so we talk very often. It's like my mom and my dad are my best friends, and so being able to have conversations with them to understand that everything they say also is portrayed on me. So I think that's the part of it. But other than that, no. I mean, I'm like I said, I'm very fortunate to have a father that's super strong-minded, that's always there, always wants the best for his kid. And I think any of y'all that has a kid or anything like that, a niece or nephew that you love so dearly, they try and help, and you try and help and put them in positions that best position that you can. So that's all he tries to do. But no, definitely a grown man, and I shut him down quite a lot, just because in season, out of season, something that you have to do. He cares so much about me and my future, and we've been along this journey so long together that all he wants is the best for me. And so if anything happens, he's super high-headed, and it's more of like, all right, like go ahead and go away, reset and things like that. So love him to death, and things like that. And like I said, super fortunate to have him. But we have talks about it, understanding that it's a right place and the right time, and then there's times where it's not.
Caleb,
What else is in the chapter? I'm curious what that chapter is going to look like.
Nah, honestly, don't care. It's not. Like I said, we're all of those things were in the past. All of the things happened already. And so we're here focused on the future. We're here focused on the present, and really trying to, like I said, get this train going and have this thing picking up steam, and choo-chooing along.
Caleb, with that being said, the past is the past. You're here now. Ben Johnson has made some tweaks to your game. How have you adjusted to the change in the stance? How have you adjusted to being under center a little bit more?
I guess the Ben Johnson effect, right?
I
guess the Ben Johnson effect, right? He's gonna get a kick out of that when he hears it. Yeah, no, I think part of it is just different coaches have different philosophies for things, and that's one of his things is left foot up. I've been a right foot up guy for typically all of my career, and I think I've done it once or twice throughout my time of playing QB. So it's just one of his things. And then, like I said, the details, being on top of it, huddle, we call it PSP, but pre-snap procedure, all these different things matter, and especially in big games and big moments, all the little things come up. And so I think that's important to him and it's important to us. And we gotta get on top of it and be on top of it from the head down. So, like I said, the Ben Johnson effect, I guess, right? Awesome. Thank you, everybody. The Bears.
Doing? Yeah, I'm pretty good, man.
Case, what sold you on this opportunity to come here?
Oh, I mean, playing football. I mean, I love playing football. I'm basically a big kid. I've never had to grow up. But to be honest, I was pretty close to being done after last year and being hurt and tough situation. And the Bears called and come up here and meet with Ben. It's supposed to be a 15-minute meeting, and felt like a couple hours later, I'm like, this is a special place. Watched Caleb from last year and was like, holy cow, this guy's really good, and he's got a chance to be a lot better. And just, it's been great. It's been so much fun coming here and playing and being a part of that quarterback room and an offense, and working with Ben and Deck and JT and Press, and obviously with Caleb and Tyson and Austin, those guys in that room. It's been really special for me. I'm enjoying it.
You was to be a guide for Caleb. So what has excited you about the early stages of that relationship and what you think you could give him at this stage of his career?
He's just he's a sponge, for being an all-world talent, a guy who's obviously since high school, been the best player on any field anywhere he's ever stepped on. To be humble enough to ask me questions and watch and learn has been really refreshing to see a guy that young and that talented, but still take to me and what I have to say. It's been really fun.
Spent a couple minutes with him in here talking about last week and the report that came out about 2 weeks ago that he wanted to go play for the Vikings. How have you seen him handle that fire over the last 2 weeks?
Yeah, I don't really, I don't really read a whole lot about what goes on, and so I'll let him talk about all that. I really couldn't tell you. From the inside, from what he's done with the team. I mean, I don't see any distractions or any difference in who he is and how he acts. Leader on and off the field, I'm very impressed with who he is. So. I couldn't tell you anything that came out, so I wouldn't have noticed if, you guys hadn't asked, or maybe one or two things. I may have seen something, but.
Did you want any assurances that you could compete to be the number 2 coming here? Not even a little.
I mean, I'm competing my whole life. I show up every day and hope my locker's not cleaned out, man. That's how I treat every day. I compete against myself, compete against. The guys in that room, I compete against, the defense we're playing today, and then every day. I've competed my whole life. So, I have a knack of sticking around and being ready to go when my name is called, no matter when that is or how that is. So, I'm impressed with that whole room. Caleb, obviously, I've already talked about him, but I think Tyson's going to play a long time in this league. I really do. He is very athletic. He's trained and he is hungry. I mean, he's one of the most well-prepared guys on that field every day. So I'm very impressed with him. And Austin, I see a lot of myself in Austin. A young guy that just needs a shot and is hungry. Doesn't get a ton of reps, but makes the most of them when he can.
Do you have a connection with Ben Johnson at all, or anyone else on the staff?
I mean, when you played as long as I have, and you've been around enough coaches that we had a bunch of kind of couple of degrees of separation, and I've talked to a bunch of guys about him, and I think he did the same about me to some of those same people. So, yeah, we had some connections, but no, I'd never really worked with him in the past.
As you talked about, you watched some of Caleb's film before you ended up coming here. What were some of the things that you saw that immediately you were like, if he makes this small tweak, he's going to take this next step?
I mean, what jumped out immediately was just effortless arm talent. I don't know if I've seen a guy do that as a young guy. But just being able to take sometimes what defenses give you and not make this crazy big, off schedule play, letting those plays kind of come to you. And I think he found some spots of that last year, and he's settled into this offense and how Ben sees it, and trying to get on the same page with him and Press and Deck and JT, trying to all come out of that quarterback room and seeing the defense the exact same way as the play caller has been. So, what we're trying to accomplish and how we're trying to accomplish it, along with the footwork, the operation before the snap, defense recognition, all those things combined with leadership. So, it's quarterbacking. I mean, it's an art and it's a science and it's all of that combined. And there's 100 ways of getting the ball down the field. But in the end, I think there is some common threads, some common themes of being a pro quarterback, what it means day in and day out, showing up here, being ready to do your job. And, that's representing himself, his family, an offense, a coaching staff, the team, an organization, and a city like Chicago, where it was such a storied tradition of players and coaches and really sports teams. It's incredible that he's got a chance to do that, and he's going to do it for a long time.
Can you tell us a little bit more about that initial meeting with Ben and why it went from 15 minutes to 2 hours and some of the specifics of why you started feeling the way you did?
When you get two guys that love ball as much as like that in the same room, we could have met for a long, long time. We think about football very similarly. We have a lot of the same philosophy when it comes to how to attack, how to play quarterback, play calling, schemes, and there's some things that we don't agree on too at times, but those are fun discussions to have and see how they go. But it was great. We talked about everything. Family man, kids coming in, moving in, where to live, how to, what schools and all that fun stuff. So it was good. It was a good conversation. I really like him as a person, as a coach, but even more as a person.
What have you seen from him in terms of the early stages of him putting his fingerprints on his team and coaching with kind of that edge that he has?
He's demanding, and I love it. I love it. He will not let you show up with anything but your best every day, and that's all the really good coaches I've been a part of have been that way.
Yes, I know that you said you didn't know much about the book that came out. How are you?
Yeah, good to see you.
Me too. But Caleb just kind of shot down the notion about that he didn't know how to watch film, or nobody was watching film with him during his rookie season. I imagine that it's the intricacies of knowing what to watch for are so much more complex going from college to your first year in the NFL. Can you think back to your rookie season and just how you learned how to do it at the pro level, and probably how much more proficient you are now from 2012? Yeah,
I say rookies don't know what they don't know, and it's just kind of the way it goes. We come from a similar offense. I think Lincoln took the air raid or whatever we ran at Houston and made it his own, and obviously kind of a branch off of that and has done tremendously well with it. For me, coming out, I didn't know the difference in base and sub defense. I didn't know that you could take a play and then go to the other hash and run that same play backwards. It blew my mind. We ran everything right-handed in Houston. And not to say that we weren't really good. I mean, one of the most prolific college offenses that's ever been. Just the way we ran it fast, we ran it up-tempo, and we were going to just do what we did better than anybody else, and didn't matter what defense was out there. The NFL is a little bit differently in how you can think about personnel groups, huddling, operation, play calling, all of the above, that you just don't know what you don't know sometimes, and it's just a daily process of us adding more tools to your tool belt until you look up and, Caleb's been here 10 years with Ben, and, so many different plays they've run together that they're speaking, don't even have to speak, that they know each other's thinking at times. I could see that happening.
Have you ever considered a future in coaching? You sound like you have willingness to teach. Has that been a thought for you at all?
It has. We'll see. You can ask my wife about that one.
Case, what's
On that topic, there's already been a couple mentions, including from Ben today, that you've been able to spend some time with Caleb, that the coaches aren't fully allowed to spend the same amount of time just because of the rules. How have those interactions, meetings with him come about and gone so far?
Yeah, it's tough. The schedule is what it is, and that we can talk all day too about PA and union stuff and trying to figure out off-season schedules and what's best. But if we're practicing and going against a defense, there's in the NFL you have to spend time on your own studying and being prepared and being ready. So as a part of that, showing up early and being ready to go, and man, he's beating me in the building. Like that's the type of guy he is. He wants it that bad. And getting little extra walkthroughs with the guys, meeting with the guys. I think I'm missing, a little extra film study right now. That's just the guys grabbing each other and hey, let's go watch a few plays from 7-on-7 today to talk about this, different choice route. How we run this type of route with this type of leverage and this type of coverage. So. Yeah, it's been a lot of that, which has been fun. It's just talking ball. It's getting to know each other. That's what the spring is for. I think first of all, getting to know each other and speaking the same language, but then, getting into the weeds a little bit of how to play quarterback and what that looks like.
So what's it been like having an offensive coordinator who is a decade younger than you, and what have been your impressions of Declan?
You had to remind me of that one.
Don't worry, we're the same age.
Yeah, I noticed Declan likes to grow his beard out to look a little bit older. I try to shave to look a little bit younger. So, yeah, it's funny to think about some of those things, but I forget about it. I mean, that dude is sharp, and he's like our resident fact checker, just knows the offense inside and out. And he's been here, like a month or two, just a very sharp guy. I've got a ton of respect for him. I mean, he's got an incredibly bright future, but I'm really glad that we get a chance to have him in our room daily with his knowledge and his background, who he's been a part of and been around. A guy like Drew Brees that, and Sean Payton and that connection that they had, man, just watching from afar. I used to study Drew Brees every year in the offseason, watch all his film and try to be just like him. So, yeah, I've really enjoyed working with Dak.
When you were with the Texans, you were in a quarterback room with Stroud when he had one of the great rookie seasons ever by a quarterback. Was there anything you learned about quarterback development from seeing that, or what role you got to play in helping that along?
Yeah, I mean, I could probably talk all day about that as well. CJ's a special player. And yeah, he did stuff as a rookie I don't know if I've ever seen any quarterback do. And I think, honestly, probably should have been more in contention for the MVP that year. If he wasn't a rookie and it hadn't taken people by surprise, I think he would have been more in the discussion for MVP, not just Offensive Rookie of the Year. That's how special I think that young man is. I learned a lot. I learned that it's really fun to lead from behind, not necessarily be the one out in front, but helping support the guy who's leading in front. So, among a lot of other things, but that was pretty special to do. Cool. Thanks, guys.
I mean, I don't really dwell on it too much. Football is a game, not if you're gonna get hurt, but win. So you got to deal with those type of things and just move forward. So I'm sure that won't be my last injury. So I'll just be ready for that when it presents itself again.
What have been your earliest impressions of Dennis Allen and what he wants to do defensively?
Oh yeah, he's a very complex individual. He has a lot of fronts and schemes and things that he can attack the offense with. So yeah, he's a great guy. Smart.
How do you think Caleb's handled the last couple of weeks? This report comes out about him wanting to play for the Vikings before he got drafted and to turn into a little bit of a firestorm here.
Yeah, we don't get into all that stuff in the media and all that type of stuff. We understand where that comes from. So, but yeah, he seemed no different to me. Same old Caleb.
So there was never a moment where he had addressed it with the group and said, hey, sorry, or anything like that?
Not that I know of, no.
You were thinking about it for a second, but why is complex the word that comes up when you think of DA?
Well, I mean, I'm saying I'm trying to learn a new defense right now. So it presents its challenges, different fronts, different blitzes, different coverages and things like that. And it's just more than I had to learn in the past. I would say. So he's definitely a little bit more complex than DCs I had in the past. So.
Ryan Poles told us in January that, I guess it might have been your exit interview. You guys had a conversation where he said you expressed some disappointment in yourself from how this last season went. What was that conversation? I guess, what was the tenor of that conversation?
Yeah, it was just us basically just going over the season, how I do every year with the GM and the head coach. It was just going over the season.
What disappointed you about last year?
We did make the playoffs. Just some of my personal goals that wasn't met. Yeah, it was just a disappointing year.
He also said at that point, and there was obviously Dio comes in free agency, they had Grady Jarrett, that putting more talent up front was going to be a priority. Seeing how the team addressed the D-line, how do you feel about that?
I'm excited. Yeah, adding new talent on the D-line, every year you get new guys and new personalities and things and stuff like that. So, yeah, I'm excited what the year has to offer.
I wouldn't say it's early, but what has Grady brought to that room, both off the field and how do you expect he'll bring it on the field? Because obviously that pressure in the middle should probably help you out, I imagine.
Yeah, Grady he's brought a lot of leadership and experience to the room. He helps out the young guys a lot. He's also kind of played in this type of defense before that some players haven't, included me. So he's helping out in that aspect too. So yeah, Grady's a big help right now.
And Taz, I know you guys are still getting to know the coaching staff, but are you already sensing that they're bringing in the right energy, or there's a sense of buy-in in the room that the culture is going to change the way that you guys feel it needs to?
Yeah, I definitely feel like we're on the right track. You can do all the hooting and hollering before the season and all that type of stuff. It all comes down to what's happening on Sundays. Are we winning? Are we losing? So we'll bring the judging board out there.
What's expected out of you in this defense that's different from the specific defense you played under Flus?
I don't know. I don't think much has changed. Football is football. I'm just probably playing from another alignment or from another stance. But at the end of the day, I was brought here to affect the QB. That's what I intend on doing.
A couple of the guys have talked about it as an attacking defense. Like, how does, for a defensive lineman, it feels like that would always be the case because you're trying to get to the quarterback. Is there any sort of, you say you might be at a different alignment, like what's the shift like for you in being in this attacking defense?
I can't comment really. It's just football is football. I've always felt like defense is just an attacking thing. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
Because this time of year is optional. Why is it important for you to be here?
Yeah, like she was saying, coming off of a disappointing year, I thought it was important to be here.
Was there ever any point, maybe before Ben got hired, that you kind of had thoughts that this was kind of turning out like Washington?
Say it again?
Was there ever any thought in your mind that maybe before Ben got hired that there was a here we go again situation like in Washington where it just did not go well for you and you kind of wanted to move on?
No, I don't think about Washington too much. No, it was never a point.
Grady said that Javon put together those workouts y'all did down in Miami. You showed up. Why do you think that was important? But also, what do you think it said about Dex? He put that together.
Yeah, Dex is he's a leader on the D line. He's a leader on his team. He's actually from Florida, so it was kind of convenient for us to come and meet him down there. And I just thought it was important because just meeting your new teammates, letting them just developing that chemistry and all those type of things. It's important.
Last season, you guys struggled to stop the run, especially towards the second half of the year. What kind of changes has DA brought in? Of course, the talent that's been added that you think is going to affect stopping the run more positively this season?
We're going to see. We understand that we got to stop the run and rush the passer. Everybody likes to rush the passer, but you got to stop the run first. So that's definitely a big emphasis in this defense, and that's what we plan on doing.
We heard Brisker quite a bit today. Just, I know he had a pick, and he's very loud, and it's just having him back out there. Do you notice that when you're there, the energy that he brings to this defense?
Yeah, Brisker brings a lot of energy on the field, off the field. He's just an energetic guy. So you kind of hear him anywhere, any area he's in.
What do you mentioned coming off a disappointing season. Like, what do you individually do January, February, March to put that behind you?
I just do the things I need to do as far as training, rehabbing, and studying my film and all that type of stuff. So just put myself in the best position to have a better year.
Do things like that linger, though, like mentally, or are you pretty quick to turn the page?
I mean, I guess you can. You definitely use it as motivation, knowing that you didn't have the as good as year as you wanted to or could have. So it's in the back of my mind, but I'm sincerely just moving forward, working on what's next.
Thank you, guys.
Thank y'all.
Who's the guy on your shirt?